The CEO of Rivian, well, he thinks that China is ahead, especially ahead of America. And he actually went out and said why that is. Now, Rivian sales over the first quarter of this year have been pretty terrible, but hopefully they can bounce back because they've got some great product. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. It's great to have you with us. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. China is obviously dominating the global EV market using predominantly lithium iron phosphate batteries. Most Chinese cars are not made with nickel-based batteries, which is interesting. And the reason for that, well, one of the reasons for that is lithium iron phosphate batteries without nickel are cheaper. Unfortunately, they don't cause any damage as well. Now, after squeezing global automakers out of their home market, Chinese EV makers are expanding overseas. BYD sales in Germany are up 220% this year. BYD is crushing Brazil and Mexico, Australia, Thailand. There's reasons for this. It's not just about the fact their cars are cheaper. Rivian CEO said that only 8% of new vehicles in America last year were electric. In comparison, EVs accounted for 45% of all car sales in China last year and 50% this year. That's a huge difference. So the market is enormous. I mean, the Chinese car market is around 32 million sales a year. That means it's almost exactly double the size of America's car market. But if 50% of those cars being sold, in other words, 16 million are electric, that's a huge market to play in. I mean, if Rivian was in China, I'm sure they'd be selling a lot more cars. When asked about China's innovation happening at lightning speed with new models, I mean, look at BYD, they're releasing a new model every single week. Advanced battery technology as well, plus much lower prices, Rivian CEO explained how companies in America can learn from them. One of the biggest reasons is the lack of options in the US, said Scaringe. There's only one of two great high compelling choices under $50,000. Now, the CEO of Rivian said that one of those is the Tesla Model Y and the Tesla Model 3. And that's why Tesla has so much market share, because their products are actually really good. So credit to him for saying that. I always respect CEOs if they can say someone else's product is excellent and not just knock it, because you don't learn anything from knocking someone else's product. Scaringe says the US needs to offer more electric cars to keep up with China. And Rivian sells the R1S SUV and the R1T electric pickup truck. But those are relatively expensive, starting at around $70,000 each. Now, here's the thing. If Rivian was in China and if Rivian could sell, say, 500,000 vehicles a year, they could bring those prices down, because every time you double production, you can actually get an approximate discount on the cost of manufacture of around 20%. I mean, Rivian could be able to produce these vehicles in China for half the price they make them for in America if they could sell a lot of volume. Rivian's new product, the Rivian R2, might enable that kind of volume. The midsize R2 SUV is going to start at about the price of a Model Y, around $45,000. So Scaringe said the R2 will take the magic of what Rivian is at their higher price and put it into a smaller package, which, to be honest, does look pretty cool. I think it's a funky little vehicle. A lot of people love it. I don't know about you, but I think it's one of those pretty desirable vehicles that's going to sell really well. Rivian CEO says it's the coolest vehicle the US will need, more than just for it to keep pace. He said that basically Rivian, as a company, to survive, the R2 must be successful. Now, Scaringe said this: you look at the labor cost, it's much more expensive to hire people in America to build cars than it is in China. Scaringe explained what we are left with is how the vehicles compare with in terms of features, content, and other technology advantages. In the US, two companies, he says, Rivian and Tesla, have redefined the network architecture with a vertically integrated technology stacks. In China, many are doing it from the ground up. Now, Rivian, the CEO might have a point here. If you think about it, the Volkswagen Group have invested into Rivian to use their software and their EV architecture. So I'm guessing it's actually probably pretty good. Since many automakers in the West source sensors and computers from several suppliers, it's nearly impossible to get them to work in sync, let alone update. So that's a big problem. Volkswagen's been facing that problem, right? To be competitive, you have to have the plumbing right, said Rivian CEO, referring to vertical integration. Rivian already has one major global OEM, Volkswagen, which will use their software, and that was an investment totaling around $6 billion. Now, as you can see, the truth is here, that vertical integration is not something really done in the West. I mean, Tesla was, remember years back, everyone was like, this is so weird. Tesla's so strange. Vertical integration at Tesla is massive. They're making a lot of the stuff themselves and making almost everything themselves. I mean, have a look at their cars, 85% made in America, the ones that are sold in America. Vertical integration, vertical integration. Everyone was saying it about Tesla. Then they were all saying it about BYD. You can say the same thing about other Chinese car companies as well, but it's really not done yet by legacy automakers. And here what is happening is the CEO of Rivian is saying that's one of the biggest advantages you can have, vertical integration. If you don't have that and you're competing against Chinese car manufacturers, you're going to be in big trouble. Rivian's numbers are in, guys. They don't look good. They've lost $744 million US. I don't know how long this can go on for. Rivian's cars, as you know, I love them. My dad loves them. There's a lot of Australians who would love to own a Rivian pickup truck, but you know, I mean, Rivian did say they're going to sell vehicles to Australia, and that is meant to. It's even on their website. It's meant to be an option, but at this point in time, I don't think the company's going to be around long enough for that to actually eventuate. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. And if you'd like to become a YouTube member, you get access to some videos that are not on the main channel. I'll put a link in the description. Click on that and become a member. Rivian reported a fourth quarter net loss of $744 million US on flat sales, but delivered on its forecast for a modest gross profit. Now, obviously, saying they made a profit when actually they made a net loss of $744 million, it's, you know, I mean, some people might say, well, look, they made a profit, but actually overall, they made a loss. How does that make sense? I mean, how can you make a loss of $744 million and still make a profit? Well, it's because if you include R&D and other expenses, then it works out that, you know, that profit was, well, it evaporated essentially. In the year earlier period, Rivian reported a significantly larger net loss of $1.5 billion. So some analysts are saying, hey, great result. I mean, in that same period, the previous year, Rivian lost $1.5 billion. This time it's only $744 billion. Fast forward 10 years and they might be losing only $20 million, possible. But you've got to stay alive for long enough for that to happen. And Rivian's just not selling enough vehicles. Rivian said it was expected to sell fewer vehicles this year compared with last year. And that's the big issue here. And it's not like they don't have some good vehicles. The R1T and the R1S, great cars. They are. They're great cars. But for some reason, I don't know what reason that is, Americans just aren't buying them. Not in large numbers anyway. Despite the red ink, the electric vehicle manufacturer reported a positive gross profit of $170 million, partly through regulatory credits. That's the key here. Selling regulatory credits to other automakers to help them meet emission standards. So I'm not sure how much they made from that, but it would be a significant percentage of that profit. Now, Tesla was the same for the first few years of Tesla's beginnings. But I mean, realistically, it wasn't enough to help Tesla from nearly going bankrupt.